Good morning. This is KELOLAND on the go with all you need to know in news and weather as you start your day. Governor Kristi Noem is in New York promoting her new book, which goes on sale today.
Noem has been on the hot seat for a section of that book that talks about shooting and killing a 14-month-old hunting dog she considered untrainable.
She is also backpedaling on a section touting her skill in dealing with world leaders. On Face the Nation, Margaret Brennan asked Noem about a meeting with North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un.
I'm asking about that specifically because you made the point to bring him up twice and that he was a little tyrant.
Do you have a question for me, Margaret?
Yes, I do. South Korea is a treaty ally. North Korea is a nuclear-armed adversary. So that's a pretty big thing to confuse. I know you read this book before it was published because you released video of your recording of the audiobook. You didn't catch these errors when you were recording it?
Oh, Margaret, as soon as it was brought to my attention, I took action to make sure that it was reflected.
Noem did satellite interviews with 6 larger CBS stations. Her interview with KELOLAND News was postponed. Former Trump campaign manager Corey Lewandowski was in New York advising Noem.
A registered sex offender is behind bars accused of exposing himself along the Sioux Falls bike trail. Police say 40-year-old Garen Crater was in the trees near Pasley Park on Saturday morning. He's charged with indecent exposure, loitering in a community safe zone, and not updating his sex offender registry. In 2022, Crater was convicted of making illegal videos of 2 teenage girls without their consent in Cottington County. That case has now been reopened.
And following up on a story we told you about yesterday, the North Sioux City Fire Department is collecting donations for the survivors of a deadly house explosion. A 1-year-old, 8-year-old, and 75-year-old died in the propane explosion early Saturday morning. The fire department is collecting items such as baby clothes, diapers, wipes, and women's clothes, as well as hygiene items. There has also been a donation account for Brittany Allen set up at the Great Southern Bank in Sioux City. Now let's get a check on our weather with meteorologist Scott Munt. Any more rain today, Scott?
Well, there may be that isolated shower later this afternoon into the early evening in southeastern South Dakota. Probably just enough for a mention. We continue to follow the snow for the higher elevations of the hills this morning in western South Dakota, and a couple of cold rain showers across the plains of western KELOLAND. Temperatures today will range from the 50s in western South Dakota, even a couple of 40s for highs, Buffalo to Faith to near 70 in the southeast. More details on your forecast with Brian coming up.
Thank you, Scott. Child care options can be extremely important to a family. More than $280,000 from the Governor's Office of Economic Development in Sioux Falls is going to child care training for people in the Sioux Falls area looking to provide that service.
We're very grateful to GoEd for giving our community over $284,000 to implement these solutions. And a portion of the funds will also go for the Helpline Center's efforts to provide a software platform that will allow more real-time data for childcare availability for not only providers but families as well.
If you'd like to apply for the child care programming, you can find a link under this story here on KELOLAND.com.
There are some new pieces of artwork up in Sioux Falls for the 21st Sculpture Walk. This year's exhibit features 80 sculptures in downtown Sioux Falls and the Cathedral District. Artist Stacy Martinez welded together steel for her sculpture.
I just feel like when little kids see this, they see that there's more to welding than just like pipelines or structural or fabrication. There's other things to do in the welding community.
This is Martinez's second year having a piece in this sculpture walk. For more details on the pieces and their locations, follow the link under this story right here on KELOLAND.com.
There's another new attraction coming to Sioux Falls just in time for summer. The Barb Iverson Skate Plaza at Nelson Park will be ready for skaters this July. Construction crews will start the final concrete pours on May 20th, and the City Parks Department will add finishing touches and landscaping in June.
I think we will be very surprised about how busy the skate park will be as soon as it's open. I think it's going to be active most of the day. As long as there are lights on, we'll have people skating, sitting, reading.
Once the park is complete, the city will host a ribbon cutting in July.
And that's a look at some of our top stories.
Now let's get one last look at your weather with meteorologist Brian Karstens. Brian?
All right, watching that Terry Peak camera this morning, a lot of wind and snow. It is, an interesting morning to say the least here. We continue with those high wind warnings for the Black Hills and much of western South Dakota today. The winter storm warnings are basically in effect for elevations above 6,000 feet. So you can see this area shaded in red. That does include Lead, Deadwood, but primarily it just applies to those peaks on the Black Hills above that threshold there. Winter weather advisory on the Wyoming side. A lot of these alerts here I think will be downgraded as we go into the afternoon. Except for the wind, we're going to maintain that through 7 p.m. on that high wind warning. Severe weather pushed through eastern KETHLAND last night. Several tornado warnings. As of 7 this morning, though, still no confirmed damage from any of that, so that's good, or at least most of it, I think, was fairly minimal. But a lot of heavy rain, northwest Iowa, 1 to 2 inches of rain. Pretty common around Spencer, Iowa again. Sioux Falls Airport ended up with about 72 hundredths. Some folks in Sioux Falls over an inch of rain. More rain coming. Yep, we see that. Today, an isolated shower thunderstorm around Sioux Falls late in the afternoon or this evening. Tomorrow night, we could brew up some more storms underneath the cold core low. Basically, this low pressure center, which is currently up in northwest South Dakota and southwestern North Dakota. It's going to sit there and spin today, but the forecast is for that low to come back to the south and southeast. And as that happens, we're going to see temperatures, of course, today affected by that. Coolest in northwest South Dakota. Sioux Falls will still end up in the mid to upper 60s for a high. But watch what happens tomorrow. We'll regroup in the morning and then watch that temperature. Sioux Falls, it could get very close to 70 in the afternoon. And the warmer we are, the more likely it is that we're going to bubble up some of these stronger storm cells. Now, Futurecast wants to paint a collection of them around that low. Certainly, at this point, not all of these are going to be severe. I don't think that's the case at all. What I do think will happen here is a couple of these, because of their proximity to the center of the low circulation, will end up popping up, probably a couple little spin-ups on radar, and just keep that in mind as we wrap up the day there. So once we get through that story, the weather forecast at the end of the week is beginning to warm up and dry out just in time for Mother's Day weekend. So that is some encouraging news. I think many of us could use a little drier trend. I know that's for sure around the Sioux Falls areas. It's been very wet. Our 7-day forecast as we leave you on this segment, we've got highs at 70 Saturday, 75 Sunday, 75 on Monday. And there'll be more 70s probably beyond that. Aberdeen also looks like a fairly dry forecast getting into the weekend. So again, tomorrow we'll kind of mop up with a 20% chance of rain. There's another small system diving into Minnesota. I do want to keep that 20% going on Friday, but once we get beyond that, again, these days 5 through 7, primarily drier and warmer. And that's also true for Pierre and Rapid City, where we're going to shake these 50s and return to the 70s Saturday, Sunday. Check out more details at KETHLAND.com.